The Army's first manned spy plane and an Air Force nuke sniffer have been among the surveillance aircraft watching Russia's military movements during the Kremlin's planning and execution of its latest invasion of Ukraine. For weeks, aviation spotters have been following the Air Force's RQ-4 Global Hawk, RC-135 Rivet Joint, WC-135 Constant Phoenix and E-8C, an Army prototype called Artemis, as well as other US and NATO aircraft flying in Ukraine or in neighboring areas. The aircraft flight paths are not classified and are readily viewable on commercial websites. The specialized planes flying in or near Ukraine can provide real-time intelligence on land and sea movements and intercept Russian communications. A remotely piloted Global Hawk with the call sign Forte 12 was the last aircraft tracked over Ukraine before the country shut down its airspace to civilian air traffic a few hours before dawn Thursday. According to the global flight tracking service Flight Radar 24. It was spotted with another U.S. Global Hawk, call sign Forte 11, on Wednesday evening over eastern Ukraine. On Thursday morning, aviation watchers spotted Forte 12 flying southwest of Crimea over the Black Sea. Based out of Naval Air Station Sigonella on the Italian island of Sicily, the two planes have been frequent visitors to Ukraine over the past month, according to Flight Radar 24 data. The site observed that Forte 11 had arrived in Ukrainian airspace late Wednesday morning and noted that the last time it was in Ukraine, on February 20th, it stayed for 24 hours. The Global Hawk can fly at high altitudes for more than 30 hours without refueling, according to the drone's manufacturer, Northrop Grumman. Its cameras can gather nearly real-time, high-resolution imagery of large areas in all types of weather, day or night, the company says. Air Force officials in Europe would not comment Wednesday on the specifics of surveillance aircraft flying in or near Ukraine, citing Defense Department policy. The Air Force conducts these types of flights with allies and partners routinely and only with prior approval from and full coordination with respective host nations, said Tech. Surveillance and reconnaissance missions continued Thursday following Russia's missile attacks on facilities in or near Ukraine's major cities, including the capital of Kyiv. The CivMilAir Twitter tracking site observed an American E-8C and RC-135 Rivet Joint plus Artemis watching the western borders of Belarus and Ukraine late Thursday morning. The E-8C Joint Surveillance Target Attack Radar System, ORJ-STARS, departed from Ramstein Air Base and was tracked over Poland and Romania. The aircraft was conceived during the Cold War to locate and track moving ground targets in all weather conditions, manufacturer Northrop Grumman says. Its 24-foot-long radar antenna can be tilted to either side of the aircraft, allowing it a 120-degree field of view covering about 19,000 square miles. A British Rivet Joint plane was spotted with its U.S. Air Force counterpart Thursday morning over Eastern Europe. The aircraft's sensors soak up electronic emissions from communication systems, radar, and the like, according to Britain's Royal Air Force. Artemis, which stands for Aerial Reconnaissance and Targeting Exploitation Multi-Mission Intelligence System, is the Army's first manned intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance jet. It is a Bombardier Challenger 650 that's been souped up with military-grade sensors for tracking ground troops and is flown on the Army's behalf by defense contractor Leidos, according to a Breaking Defense article published Tuesday. Its electronics and ground-scanning radar can monitor tanks from hundreds of miles away, meaning it can see into Belarus. The heavily fortified Russian exclave of Kaliningrad and maybe even the Donbass region of eastern Ukraine, Tom Spoor, director of the Heritage Foundation's Center for National Defense, said in the article. Meanwhile, the Air Force's WC-135 Constant Phoenix, nicknamed the Nuke Sniffer, spent time patrolling Eastern Europe this week. Its mission is to detect and collect radioactivity samples in the atmosphere. The radioactivity typically results from a nuclear explosion. The aircraft, based at Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska, made an emergency landing Tuesday at RAF Mildenhall, England, following a flight over the Baltic Sea. Air Force officials said the crew followed all prescribed emergency and safety procedures and landed safely. No one on board was injured.